Hello and welcome back, savvy savers and fellow Intrepid investors. My name is Tom and I'm the Intrepid investor. Now today I am very excited because we are talking about a special topic which I've recently got involved with, and that's the commodity market. And I was speaking to a friend today, and I was speaking with a friend recently, and we were talking about commodities in general, and they mentioned how they had got into the precious metals market, investing in things like silver and gold. And so I spoke to them. They're a good friend, and I said whether I could actually do a video on this, and they've let me borrow some gold and silver. It's a good job. She's very trusting of me. Which is bullion. And today we're going to be talking about whether it actually is a good investment to have that. Now, because my friend has lent me some gold and silver, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to do a little series on gold and silver and precious metals in general. So that is what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. But before we get into the actual video again, all I do want to say is if you find this video helpful, do make sure you drop a click on that thumbs up icon to show that you find the video helpful and help other people find the video. And also, if it's your first time, do make sure you click the red button next to it as well that says subscribe, and that just keeps you up to date with all my videos. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So the question today is whether investing in gold and silver, if you don't have much money, is actually a good investment, or whether it would actually be better just spending on the stock market. And in short, after a lot of research, I'm quite happy to say that it is important at least to have a bit of your money in gold and silver, and here are the reasons why. Financial advisors and fellow investors do recommend having 5 to 10% of your investments in gold in particular, and this is because it's a great way to hedge against inflation, which means when say the pound or the dollar weakens, generally speaking, gold increases in price. That's just keeping up with inflation, and so that's going to be much better than just having some money being kept away in a saving account. And also, historically, it has performed very well on the stock market. When the stock market crashes, generally speaking, historically, if you look at the numbers, gold does outperform the stocks. It's negatively correlated. So gold is actually a great way in which you can negate a certain amount of damage to your finances if the stock market crashes. And after the bull market that we've had, you may want to consider that soon we're either going to go into a bear market or we're actually going to have some kind of crash in the near future. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to these two precious metals is that they are finite resources, and at the moment we're reaching peak production if we've not already got there already. And the thing is, as we get to peak production, we're already using the stock that we have. And so as the production drops, because we are not able to find these minerals or mine them or refine them as easily, the price of actually buying the materials is going to increase. And that's for both gold and silver. And the other thing with peak production is that as we're finding less and less, we're having to spend more money in which to actually produce or to mine the precious metals, and thus again the price is going to increase. And so this is another reason why having precious metals is a really good idea. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is actually it does relate to gold, but more particular this pure silver. Now, silver is very sought after as an industrial metal. It has a lot of properties. It's one of the best for heat conduction as well as conducting electricity. And with it also being very shiny, very good at reflecting light, you'll find it used all over the market, whether that's solar panels or in medical items. There are so many uses for silver, which means it has a very high demand for industrial uses. Now, the issue is, because a lot of companies use this, they do their best to try and keep the price of silver low in that so that they can maintain their profits. Now, for that reason and that reason alone, I'd argue, at the moment, silver in particular is ridiculously cheap. You're talking 12 to 17, I think it's $17 at the moment for an ounce of silver, which is ridiculous. And normally it's, I think, a 15th of what gold is. And if that was the case, according to this should be worth, I think, $88, I think I was reading. So the fact that this is worth $17 and they're paying worth $88 and we're paying $17 for that, you can see that there is a huge difference. And when production is unable to keep up with the industrial demands and people stop trading the paper silver, we're going to see the price of silver increase exponentially. The only issue is this is going to take a while. It's not going to be in the next year or 2 years. Probably the next decade, couple of decades, is when you'll see the price of silver increasing exponentially. But that's a good reason to invest a bit of your spare money, if you have, in actually precious metals, in silver in particular. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the use of precious metals during times of crisis. And all you need to do is look over at Venezuela at the moment and have a look at how the bolivar, the actual the currency they use, has inflated ridiculously. We're talking thousands of times, but people are still able to go out, providing they have gold or silver, and buy food for their families. So in times of crisis, it's a great bartering item. The only issue is crime, and if you let people know that you have that, there's a chance that you'll be subject to crime. But it's also a great way of maintaining your wealth for after the events. When an economy has stabilized, those who have things like precious metals are going to be able to find themselves in a much more comfortable position. Whereas people who perhaps had their money in investments in the stock market may find that a lot of those companies are unable to keep up with their production, end up closing, and thus people losing a lot of money in the stock market. So those are all ways in which precious metals are potentially going to reflect a good return in the future. So the answer is yes, it is a good idea to have some kind of exposure to gold and silver bullion, or gold and silver in general if you're looking at things like numismatic collectibles or rare jewelry. They're all going to have its worth, but specifically if you're trying to invest in gold and silver, you're going to be wanting to invest specifically in bullion. All of which we are actually going to be talking about in our next video, which is going to be talking about ways in which you can actually get exposure to gold and silver. But anyway, enough with this video. If you did like it, please do drop a thumbs up on that little button below. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Oh, and do check out my Facebook page if you haven't already. It's an excellent way in which you can actually get in contact with me to ask me questions if you have personal questions you want to talk about, or if you actually have an idea that you'd like me to talk about in my next videos, then be sure to send me a message on there. Anyway, guys, until next time, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon. Ciao!